about 1,000 hackers across 100 different teams competed in the NSEC CTF this past weekend. And I was on one of them. I was on Coldroute and we placed second, which I'm thrilled about. It's been a few days for me to get a lot more rest and a few more cups of coffee, so I can tell you about what I think we did really well, a couple things we probably are going to improve on, hopefully for next year, and then I think like kind of a discovery I had along the way, which has me like twisting my perspective, because piece of this was like, am I getting too old for CTFs? Is my skill getting a little bit, rusty because I'm not always doing penetration testing, like running my own company and stuff like that now. So I had a few nerves, but I discovered a couple things. But first, let's start with the things that we did well. But right before I get to that, quick shout out to Coldroute. This was an incredible, incredible team. And one of the things that we had going for us was just a huge, diverse background of development and hacking and networking and application and just goofy skills all over the place. Because there was flags from breaking a safe to doing timings and side attacks, to SQL injection and reverse engineering like an N64 game. Like it was just all over the place. And without that diverse background, no one could do this. No one can win this contest without having just a team of talented individuals. So shout out to them. Freaking incredible. All right, starting with the thing I think we did really, really well, which was communication, at least to a certain level. We used Discord as our main way of just communicating back and forth for quick one-off things. Like Discord is free. You can spin up a server. Heck, we even have one for like this channel and Hacker Hangouts. I'll leave a link if you want to look at it. But it was a free channel we were able to spin up, but it was one we've used before. So people had already created bots to help us. So, and this kind of ties into the next thing. So within Discord, we would just go back and forth if we had to communicate upon a certain challenge, like a specific challenge, or if we had questions or code snippets. But it wasn't our place to like centralized information share. Because when you have like 50 different challenges going on, if everyone's talking on them in a single channel, it gets really confusing. So with Discord, someone wrote a bot so that what you could do is any challenge you were working on, you could immediately create a challenge. You'd send a command to the bot that would create a channel specific to that challenge. So we could communicate, any communication would be stored to that channel. But here's the thing is, Discord's not that great about storing information. It's good about communicating and quick back and forth or code snippets, or I found this interesting. It's not great for storing information. Storing information, we use Notion. Now, if you've been on the channel, you know there's two places I like to keep notes. One is Obsidian, which is just a fantastic tool. I use that for more like confidential things because there's end-to-end encryption. It's excellent for that. It's all markdown. It's stored on your computer outside the scope of this video, but it's great. Notion, on the other hand, is excellent for collaboration because you can spin it up. You can immediately share it out with everyone. I have a pro plan, but we could have done a free plan as well. And I was able to share it out so anyone was able to create pages under our NSEC CTF one. And what was great is we started with a table. Every single challenge got its own page. So not only could we immediately put the challenge text there and all the files associated with it and the URLs, but we'd start just creating notes there, or just like, here's what I think it could be. And it allowed us to jump in and out of challenges without like losing progress, or if someone else wanted to jump in a challenge. Also in that same table, we could say, here is the technology stack that this challenge has to do with. Like it's a Java application, it's a PHP application. Here's the URLs for quick reference. But because we could tag the individual technologies there, anyone at a quick glance could go, ooh, this is a challenge I can help on. We also had statuses like in progress, like haven't started, I'm stuck, I need help, so that people could look and know immediately who to reach out to. Now, here's where we could have done something a little bit better. We did assign an individual to anyone could jump in and you could assign yourself to a flag, but you could have more than one person on every flag. So there wasn't like one person with the knowledge. And this kind of even falls across the whole contest, which I think we could have done better, was having a single person who kind of has an awareness, not necessarily like the project manager or something, but has an awareness on where everyone's at, what they're doing. Like we use Notion to like, here's our schedules and here's what we're working on and here's the hours we're working. But having someone with a general awareness of where things are, because it was like later in the contest, I found a challenge, which I think I could have blown through, but I found it at like Sunday at 10 a.m. and it was just kind of got lost. Now, one of the things though, which was also just an incredible success, was someone also took a Discord bot, which would constantly scrape the forum. So the way they gave challenges is they would make posts in a forum. So there's like the scoreboard and things like that, but there was a forum which they would post challenges on, and it would continually scrape the forum. And anytime a new page was created, it would make an alert in Discord, because challenges don't get released all at once. They get released one after another. And then sometimes like later in the Saturday or whatnot, they release a few more. And since the difficulty is really all over the place, some of the challenges were really easy, like pulling out information from the movie The Net or Hackers or things like that, like little pieces of detail, which were just fun for someone who didn't have like a big technical background, hence like why you needed a team of all over the place. But they would get released at different times. And often if you got like just stuck on a certain challenge, you'd want to sit there without thinking about anything else for hours, kind of like I did Saturday. I think it was like 10 hours on a single challenge, but that's another story. But what it allowed us to do is anytime a new challenge was be posted, it would be scraped, it would thrown to Discord. So if it was an easy challenge, someone could jump on it right away, create the ticket or like the line in Notion so we could start looking at it. So overall, organizationally, we did really well. Communication, we did well, but we probably needed a centralized person to kind of like point us to different places. Now, early on, I talked about like a skill. Like, am I too old for this? Am I losing my skill? And this was like the kind of discovery I had. So one of the challenges, the one on Saturday, I just was stuck on for so long, was a side channel attack or a timing attack. Ultimately, it was a really, really cool vulnerability. So ultimately, if you have, this one was, and there'll be write-ups through it when I'll link one down below, but ultimately it was a PHP application which had 2 SQL calls in it. The first one would execute and select everyone's email address, and then it would execute another SQL query. And that second query would only run if there was records that were visible in the first one, and it would filter them out. So what ends up happening here is you could do a query which would execute the first SQL query, but not the second one, or submit a query that would execute the first and the second. So sometimes, but what would end up happening is it takes longer to run both queries and it takes shorter to run one query. So this is a type of timing attack, because I can now enumerate the type of query or the parameter that will execute both or just one. The problem is the VPN, after a billion requests, you might be able to start telling which parameter or what word is taking a little bit longer. But with a VPN, it's not possible. So here's what I ended up doing. I ended up Googling and researching, and what I found was a really cool HTTP 2 vulnerability, which allows you to send 2 requests to the server at the exact same time. It was a Python library someone had written, so you put 2 requests in the same one. You can send that to the server, so you know as the attacker 100% the server got them both at the same time. So when they come back, you know what everyone finished first only completed the first SQL query, and the one that came second completed the second one. But then we found out like the Python library didn't support IPv6, and there was a couple other challenges we had to figure out with like self-signed certificates. All pretty easy, but just took time to kind of go through the library and fix it. But what I found was like, this is not a challenge that anyone's done before, or at least it's not something that you would commonly do within like a penetration test or application assessment. Like you would notice, like, say I had access to the code, I would notice there is a chance to do a timing attack, and I can call it out to the developers and have them fix it. But it's not often like you're exploiting over a VPN and solving these type of problems. The thing that I would say, like, I rediscovered about hacking, and I know I've done this a few times, but like sometimes you get in your own head, you have that imposter syndrome, is that the ability to Google for a specific issue is a skill. It's not just because I didn't search, how do I hack a web server or PHP code? It was very specific. How can I do a time-based attack in a timeless manner? And that led me to a timeless, time-based attack. And then this library, and then this write-up. And having the ability to search in Google and quickly prototype code. It's something I really need to get better at myself. But having the ability to rapidly prototype code, build something up, and then run it, test it, was just it gave me so much encouragement because it made me realize you don't need to know everything, but you need to know how to research it, how to understand it quickly, and then start testing it out. In this case, it was awesome. Duba on our team was just incredible at prototyping just Python code really quickly. So we were able to jump on, have a discussion, talk through, and actually kind of brainstorm and kind of like, we'll say, innovate a solution that would work. Whether it was, okay, we send this, we use this library, we then have to test both a version which we know is going to work, one which we know is going to go through both requests, and then one that might only go through one request. And then figuring out, okay, is it going to return negative and positive? It was just a cool thing. It's a combination of all these things and ultimately 10 hackers coming together to solve not only CTF challenges, but also technical difficulties, power outage, windstorm, knocking out internet in power, frustrations with the VPN. I can't think of a better way to spend 72 hours but hacking away with friends, regardless of how beautiful it was outside or the distinct lack of coffee after like 4 cups. Hopefully you got something out of this. Thanks for watching, and hack on.